everyone. Welcome to the Peapod. If you're finding this, please share it with a friend and let's just have a good time together.
Terry, you still there?
I'm still here.
I don't see you anymore. I don't see me anymore either. Okay, and I don't hear or see you. There
Okay.
you are.
Yeah, the recording was playing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it didn't show on the screen, but anyway,
Here we go.
hopefully everyone heard those words from the amazing Jim who did that introduction. Catherine, no one can hear you and not see you. Well, let's try it again. All right. Let me see. All right, we're going to try this. I really want that introduction to be heard because I think it's pretty important. So, can you hear it when it's playing?
No.
Oh, I know what I did. All right, hold on. I got to share the screen. That's it. Oh, no, that's not it. Cancel. And a source.
Okay, Lauren says we can see you now.
Yeah, they see both of us now, but I want to share this.
Welcome to the Peapod. And just like the peas in a peapod, each human is here to have experiences that will contribute to the growth of all. Here at the Peapod, we will examine some of these experiences and glean the lessons learned, the truth uncovered, and come to a deeper understanding through our sharing. So grab your popcorn, get comfortable, maybe even a paper and pen, and get ready for an amazing time with your hostess, Terry Angel, a woman on a mission to bring change, especially in the arena of peace, into our world. And here she is.
All right. I think we finally got it to play where everybody can hear it. Thank you to Jim Mershon for recording that beautiful opening for me. And welcome to the Peapod. You know, the angels showed me in meditation one day that we're all like peas in a pea pod. We're all so similar. And oh, Catherine is here and she says that was worth waiting for. Thank you, Catherine, for being here, and Lauren. But the angel said we're all like pea pods and we're fed by the same source, which is our creator. And of course, I give all honor and glory to the creator for this beautiful show that I was told to do this year, starting at the beginning of the year. And we've had some amazing shows. My co-host today, Kathleen Caputo, has been with me for several of these shows already, and it's always beautiful to have you here with me, Kathleen. Thank you for being back on again.
I love it.
Yay. Today we're going to talk about angels and miracles, two of my very favorite topics, and we're just going to share from our heart. And any of you that are in the audience, thank you so much for coming in. Share this with somebody that you think could use some uplifting today by hearing about miracles. That's why we share them, to let other people know that it's a reality. I have a quote from the darling Albert Einstein about miracles. And he says, there are two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. That would be kind of sad. The other is as though everything is a miracle. And that's how I choose to live my life. I have so many miracles that happen, and we're going to talk about the happenings in our lives, both Kathleen and I. And we encourage you, if you're in the audience listening to us today, share your miracles. And if you want to come on here and be one of the guests here, the guest co-host, then let me know that and come on and be a miracle sharer with us. So, Kathleen, miracles, oh my gosh, every day I feel like is a miracle. But every day I'm open to just exploring what's showing up in my life, what's there, and the people that are there. So, how about you? How do you feel about miracles in your life?
Well, my life has been saved many times. And there's many different angels. There's the ones that maybe we don't see, but they've helped us. There's the other ones that I've seen, and then all of a sudden they've disappeared. And then there's the people that are in our lives that, or even if we don't know them, human people that are our angels. And then I've also found that some of my my ancestors that have gone on before me are also some of my angels. So I find there's all different types of angels. And one of them that really stands out to me, I'm not sure which one it was, but many years ago when I was in my 20s, I worked for the police department and I worked in the criminal court in Queens. And my car wasn't working very well. And my mother said to me, well, why don't you take my car? And I borrowed her car one day, and I came home for lunch from the courthouse, and I'm going back to the courthouse again, and I'm on an expressway, and all of a sudden my mother's car starts to die. And I had just enough energy in the car to get up on the shoulder of the road. And right in front of me where I parked, I was about maybe 4 feet from it, was a brick overpass. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know how I'm going to get back to the courthouse. And this, of course, was before cell phones, so I couldn't call anybody. And all of a sudden, a cab driver came along and he pulled over and he said, maybe I could help you. And he's now in front of the car with the lid up, and he's trying to start the car, and it's not working. And he finally says, look, this isn't going to happen. Where were you going? And I said, very close. And he said, get in the cab. I'll take you. I'm not going to charge you. So I was a little leery about doing that, but I think it's the only way I'm going to get back. And he didn't charge me. And I went in and I talked to one of the cops that I worked with, and I told him what happened. And he says, well, when we get a little bit easier here, it's not so busy, I'll take you back. So we're going back on the opposite direction of the expressway, and we see on the other end where I was coming up, everything is backed up. And I look over and I see my mother's car is now smashed like an accordion into the brick wall. And the cops said, your face just like drained of blood. Just like, oh my God. So, and I had called my mom and I said, Mom, call Dad at work and let him know that I'm having trouble with the car. He's going to have to go over there tonight, see what he can do with it. And as we came around, there were all the cops there that knew me, and they saw me get out. There was a woman there that was crying, and there was another car that pushed it in. And she says, thank God you weren't in there. Yeah. The man that was driving was her father, and he was on medication, and he passed out. And he hit into my car, backed up into the expressway again, and her father and her baby were in the hospital. And to make a long story short, the cops told me that this happened about 2 minutes after that guy picked me up and we left. Wow. So when my father got there that night, he said that the radiator was all the way pushed into the driver's seat. Mm-hmm. That man that stopped for me and I would have been dead. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether he was the angel or whether it was angels there that was taking care of both of us. But
Mhm.
somebody definitely was watching over us.
Oh my
It was
God.
just, that'll never get out of my head.
I have so many chills right now just hearing this story, and so much gratitude in my heart for that earth angel that stopped and scooped
Yes,
you up and took you out of that
right,
dangerous
right.
situation.
Literally, he said, the cop said about 2 minutes after that happened.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Did you keep in touch with that guy? I hope.
Didn't get his name or anything. I
Oh
figured,
my
all right, he brought me back.
God.
And thank you. And I gave him a tip,
Yeah.
and I have no idea who he is, but thank God he was there for me.
Oh, thank you, angels. Thank you for taking care of our Mama Hado Bear, because we need you in this world. We really need your energy and your beautiful, just everything about you that's so
Oh,
helpful and
thank you.
kind and
Thank you.
compassionate and loving. Oh, wow. What a story. What a testimony to trust and faith and belief, in angels. I totally fully have been connected with them my whole life, and I've
Mm-hmm.
seen so many stories and heard so many stories, and that's why I was led to do this. This whole
Yes.
month of April is about the miracles that happen in our life because of our angels guiding us and guarding us. Kathleen, have you met or do you know your guardian angels?
Many years ago was reading a book about angels, and I still have it on my bookshelf. And I stopped and I closed my eyes and I asked, who is my angel? And I had never heard of Uriel. I've heard of Ariel.
Hmm?
And I heard, I'm Uriel. I am your angel.
Oh, good.
So I've known that for many years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Uriel is all about the grounding, balanced energy in our lives
Mm-hmm.
and connecting in with the earth. So I am so happy that Uriel is working with you this lifetime. I just think that's so super great to have that beautiful angel. I didn't know Uriel until maybe a decade or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard his name either.
Right.
And there was one day when I see colors. And sometimes when the angels come in, I see their color that's surrounding them, just like I see people's auras that surround
Mm-hmm.
humans.
Yes.
And I saw all this red energy, and I'm going, I don't know who that is. I don't know an angel that has red energy. Is it maybe an ancestor or something? I'm just asking questions to get clarity. And I heard that it was Uriel, and I'm going,
Really?
yeah. And I'm going, well,
Wow.
I don't know you, Uriel, but I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're here for a reason, right? And so then the more I researched and found that name, there was a real name of an angel, and it's an archangel.
Yes.
And, Uriel is the one that helps us to connect to the earth energy and to Mother Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love that he's one of the four angels of the four directions,
Yes.
and helps us to be closer to that beautiful planet that we are here on. And yeah, so I'm so happy that you connected with Uriel and that he's
Yeah,
guiding you.
another connection we have,
Yeah,
Terry. Same
yeah.
thing. Uh-huh.
Oh my God, we have so much that we're connected with, and
Mm-hmm.
it's such a beautiful soul connection that Kathleen and I have. We figured that out a long time ago, that we're true soul sisters and going through some of the similar experiences in
Mm-hmm.
life. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
really, really happy about that. Yeah, the angels, they've been with me. Um, I didn't have the greatest childhood. There were many of us, for one thing, and we kind of got lost in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
We were to be not seen, not heard. And so they were my solace. They were the ones that guided me to go sit on the clearing on the side of the mountain and just, be fed by them.
See,
My
yeah.
soul would be fed, and and they would share so many things with me. I saw past lives that I had lived. It was like showing me a movie, I'd just
Mhm.
sit there and all of this stuff would come through and I'm like, wow, I felt it. I felt was really in that movie, and that was me in a prior life in the movie.
Mhm.
They were showing me things. But I want to share one experience. I'll share many, but this one experience that I'm still just so blown away with to this day. And it happened at a time that I've been talking a lot about recently, my time that my kidneys failed. I was 6 months pregnant, and I know it was the angels that guided me to contact my doctor at that time. I hadn't been feeling well, but I thought it was, oh, it's just because I'm pregnant, right?
Mhm.
It's just the experience I'm having of not feeling well. It was my first time pregnancy, first time and only pregnancy. And I didn't know what it felt like to be pregnant. I was just a kid. I was 21 years old. And this experience was so new and so different. And I'm thinking, okay, so when you're pregnant, you don't feel good. Okay, I
Mhm.
heard that. And I was like, okay, I'll just go with that. I'm just not feeling good. And then all of a sudden, I went from looking like I was 5, 6 months pregnant to ready to deliver a baby. And I'm like, that's interesting. I don't think I'm supposed to be this big at this point. So I had called my doctor and I said, I'm just not feeling good. So I don't know, can we just, do a checkup? So he sent me for some tests, and that's when they found that my kidneys had failed totally and completely without my knowledge. And that's why they call kidney disease the silent killer,
Yeah.
because you really don't know that you're as sick as what you are.
Mhm.
And since I had another reason that I might not be feeling well, it was like,
Right.
okay, no panic here, no worry about anything being wrong. But everything was so miraculous about that whole experience that, if I hadn't said, can I come see you, talk, and make sure everything's going okay here with this pregnancy, I would not have known that my kidneys had failed. It would have been fatal because my kidneys had shut down completely
Wow.
and no function. And so not only was I not feeling well, I'm sure the child inside of me was not feeling well,
Yeah.
not getting what it needed. So they put me on what's called dialysis, which is a way to clean the blood. And they couldn't put me out to do the lines that connect you to the machine. So I was awake during that whole time, and I eventually passed out because just the whole experience was not good. And I woke up, and I'm in this room. And back then, the dialysis machines were huge. They were these monsters that were floor to ceiling. And I woke up and I was connected to this huge machine, lines flowing everywhere with blood flowing through them. And I'm going, I don't know about this. It was really scary. Here I am, this kid, basically, and not having any knowledge about what this was all about and how, everything worked. And I cried out in panic because there was nobody in the room with me. I was all by myself, hooked up to this machinery and other machines that were monitoring my body and my functions. And so I cried out for help. And this lady walks in, and she came in and she said hello. And she was very calming and soothing. She was dressed all in white. So I'm just thinking, okay, this nurse is going to help me, right? She's going to explain things. And I'm like, what is going on? What is this? And she goes, it's okay. They'll be in to explain everything to you in just a minute. You just need to calm down. And so she had this real calming, gentle manner about her. And I was just so appreciative of her being there. And she told me, they'll be right in. Somebody's coming now. They'll be right in to help you. And sure enough, after she walked out, these other nurses and doctors and everybody was like gathered around me to help me. And I asked for her. I'm going, oh, this nurse was so nice. Is she going to be my nurse? And they're going, who are you talking about? And I described her to them. She didn't have on a name tag, so I didn't have a name to give them. They had nobody on staff like that. There
Yeah.
was nobody on that floor that
Wow.
fit that description of what I was telling them. And I know I didn't hallucinate it because I was as calm as I could be after she had come in.
Mm-hmm.
That was my angel that heard my cry and that knew she needed to be there to calm me and to calm the energy and to help me to just relax instead of wanting to pull everything out of my arms and disconnect and run away, which was my desire, was let me out of here. I have no idea what this is that's going on right now. So that was one of the biggest miracles of my life, Kathleen, was the whole thing of just them finding out that there was something terribly wrong,
Yes.
that needed medical attention. And then this angel that just said, it's okay, just calm down, it's okay. And sometimes we need that,
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when you're pregnant. I can't even imagine going through anything like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was such a hard time, not understanding anything. I didn't understand that whole process of what dialysis was. There was no explanation. And then I found out years later, I was talking to this same doctor that was treating me, and I had just stopped in just to see him and say hello. And I said, y'all never explained anything to me. You never answered my questions that I had. And he goes, we didn't know what to do with you. They had never dialyzed anyone that was pregnant before.
Oh, wow.
They had to adjust all of the medication and make it safe for my baby that was inside of me so that it didn't, overdose her with, any of the medication or make it not where she couldn't survive the treatment. So they didn't know what to do. I was like, they were learning from me while while I was being treated. And so I was really making medical history left and right as this happened.
Wow.
And at that time, kidney transplants were very new.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Just started doing them, especially with live kidneys. They
Mm-hmm.
were experimenting kind of with the cadaver kidneys and seeing what worked and what didn't work. So it was all just so new. And here I was, this little pioneer woman, like, okay, doc, here I am.
That is you.
But what a miraculous time, and for everything to work the way it did and to come to perfection the way it did, because I'm still here to talk about it,
Yeah.
all these years later. And yeah.
Did you stay in the hospital until you gave birth?
No, I stayed in the hospital for a month. I kept
Mhm.
begging them to let me go home, and they were like, "No, we got to get you stabilized. Your everything in your system is all out of whack.
Mhm.
All the toxins. They had to really detoxify my whole system."
Mhm.
And so I think it was around Thanksgiving. I'd been in there for about a month. They said, "Okay, we're going to let you go home. We've got things kind of stabilized." And so they dismissed me from the hospital. And then about a week later, I think I started having some cramping and false labor, I guess, because I went to my OBGYN and I'm going, I know it's too soon because she wasn't due until January. And here it was, not even into December yet.
Wow.
So they tried to put off the labor as much as they could, but she still came 7 weeks early, and that was another miracle.
Mhm.
She arrived 7 weeks early, and she weighed 2 pounds and 2 ounces.
Oh, wow.
And back then, this was 48 years ago. Back then, a preemie that small didn't really stand a chance.
No, not then. No.
No, they weren't as advanced as they are now with
Mm-hmm.
being able to handle I've even heard of 1-pound babies that have survived.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the whole thing was just so, like I said, so surreal when I look back on it. But just seeing that there are miracles that take place. And here, she knew that she had to be out of this body that was so unable to house her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
To
Yeah.
go through all that I was going through, because I was going through dialysis 3 times a week. And it's hard on the body for just a normal one-person body, but to have another individual that's also going along for the ride with this treatment, and to be able to thrive. So yeah, so she came early, and she was actually in the incubator for 7 weeks. So we were able to bring her home at the time we were supposed to, that she should have been born. But I wasn't able to take care of her
No.
during that time,
Mm-mm.
And it was just looking back on it, I see the perfection. And I say that all the time. And it's so true. When we look backward, we can
Yes.
see the perfection of everything that came into place. Everything is working the way it was supposed to work in divine timing.
Right.
So I needed that 7 weeks for me to get stabilized and for my body to gain more strength.
Mm-hmm.
The dialysis to get it to where I was able to function during the day, instead of just being so weak and not being able to. So yeah, and she survived and thrived, and what a blessing to know that, even though the medical doctors didn't know what they were doing with this, because it had never been done before.
Yeah.
The angels knew. The angels knew how to take care of it and to inspire them and help them to find the right combination of, what was needed.
And the other thing is, in situations like that, to be able to let go and to let that happen and not say, oh no, it's got to look a certain way.
Yeah.
If we can let them do what they need to do for us and have that faith, that's the biggest thing, I think.
It is.
To get through anything.
Yeah, it really is. To not have to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times we think we have to be in control, right? But the miracles happen when we let go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. That is some story. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, these are the stories. I knew that when they inspired this particular part of the Peapod podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I knew this was going to be written as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I want people to come on and share their stories. I have a million of them, but I also want to include other people's stories, like the one that you've shared with us just today.
Mm-hmm.
That's a true, absolute miracle. You can't make this stuff up, miracle.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. I remember my father calling me later on that night. He was crying.
Yeah.
And he said, thank God you were not in that. He said, we would have lost you right away. You would have been gone.
Yes.
So, it's just, it's really amazing what happens, and that we can look back and know that it is a higher force that's always there for us. And sometimes we can forget about that, but it's always there. It's always there.
Yeah, that trust factor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the more we hear inspiring stories, real, true stories that happened, it just increases our level of trust. Trust that, whatever's going on, there's a divine plan.
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't supposed to go at that time. It wasn't your time to exit the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why there was intervention. It wasn't my turn to exit the earth.
Exactly.
That's why everything fell the way it did, so that I could get the help I needed to keep me alive, so
Mm-hmm.
that I could be here right now in this moment to share with everyone and to do what I do every day, to bring inspiration and hope into the world.
Right.
So, yeah, so trust, so
Mm-hmm.
important. And you're right, we do sometimes forget, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have that amnesia. It's like,
Start to wonder, well, what am I going to do, instead of saying, okay, what's spirit or what are the angels going to do for me, right? Let go of it.
yeah.
And your daughter was meant to be here too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was the contract that we had together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about soul contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we come in to a lifetime with the purpose of creating and to create another being to be in the world. Sometimes we're here to create um, a business or
Mm-hmm.
something huge in our world, like Tesla did, bringing
Yes.
out all this innovative stuff for us to have. Sometimes we're here to educate and to bring forth something new into the world. So I really believe that there are soul contracts between
Mm-hmm.
different souls that say, all right, we're going to work together. Let's go in and let's have fun and let's create something and let's just have a beautiful time together while we're there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not
Exactly.
such a beautiful time, though. Sometimes we make a pact or a contract with someone. Okay, I really need to get this. I really need to learn this experience. So will you help me? Let's work together and you be the bad guy, I'll be the good guy.
Goodbye. Wow.
Have you had any of those type of experiences, Kathy?
Of
Where where
having
people
that.
have been your, I call it the sandpaper, where people
Oh yes,
like,
my ex-husband.
okay, yeah, right.
That'll do it.
I'm one of those.
There was a woman that was in a different department than I was when I was in the real estate development company. And there was something about her that every time I spoke with her, she just pushed every one of my buttons, every single one of them. And I was never one to raise my voice. And I found I was raising my voice with this woman, and I'd get off the phone and say, why am I doing this? And I finally one day I said, look, I can't keep this up. And I decided to, just before I would hear she's on the phone, and I go, oh my gosh. And I would just take a breath and say, okay, I'm going to let God speak through me. I'm just going to keep my cool and everything is going to be fine. And I did that for several times. And all of a sudden, we weren't at each other anymore. And once we got to that point, she left the company. She was taken out of my life, and I didn't have to do anything about it except change my response to her.
Mm-hmm.
And that I see so many times in my life is, if there's a person that's getting me, there's a part of me that's attracting that. I don't know what part it is. Um, but if I can see it in a different way, then things change.
Yeah, yeah. Or she served her purpose.
She served, yeah, definitely served a purpose for me.
Yeah.
But, and then I have one other one I want to tell you about. Again, a lot of things with
I love
cars.
story time.
Pardon me?
I love story time.
Okay,
I've got to close this shade just a little bit because
sure.
I'm getting sunshine all over
You're
me.
getting sunshine, see?
Florida sunshine.
So there seems to be a lot of things with cars with me.
Mhm.
And I was working years ago, a place that was kind of on a corner of two very, very busy streets. And one's here and one's here. And I was crossing that way. And there was a lot of cars that would come around from the other one, and they would careen around there. So there's a woman on the opposite side of the street I was going across, and she's walking first toward me. And when she got up to me, and I hadn't gotten off the curb yet, She looked at me, I didn't know her, and she said, "Pay attention."
Okay.
Okay? And it stopped me from going off the curb. And at that moment, a car careened around the corner. Had she not stopped me, I would have gotten hit. So it was like 2 seconds later, I turned around. She was totally gone. There was no sight of this woman. There was no door she could go in. I looked down the block. She wasn't there. And I said, that was an angel.
Mhm.
And she has come to me in dreams ever since then
Wow.
and given me information that I needed to know.
Are you curious about her name?
Yes. Do you know her name?
I can ask if they can reveal her name.
I thought it began with an I, but I'm not sure.
I was
Iris?
You're so right.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, it's not Iris though. It's more like Irene.
Okay, that could be.
Irene. Let's see if that feels good. I do muscle testing and stuff. Irene. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that,
not
that
pretty.
That
Irene.
could have been my grandmother, although she didn't look like my grandmother, but my grandmother comes to me quite often when
Mhm.
I'm going through something. When I separated from my husband, I'm laying in bed crying, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden she was across the room, and she said to me, "These things happen, and you're going to be okay." And her name was Irene.
There you go. It feels so right as I muscle tested it. Irene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Huge. And that's my daughter's middle name.
Oh, is it really?
I'm telling you all that are listening, Kathleen and I have this thing going on.
That's so funny. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's who it is. It's Irene.
Okay, Grandma, thank you. I appreciate you.
Love it. I love it. Julie Kiss says way, way cool and crazy. Crazy good. Oh, wow.
So tell us another one about something that you've gone through, please.
Gosh, there's so many. So when I was a kid, not kid, but a teenager, I had these two best friends that I hung out with. Both their names were Linda. So we had no trouble remembering names. And one of the Lindas had a car because her dad was a mechanic. Most of us, the area I grew up in was very poor. So it wasn't normal for teenagers to have their own car.
Mm-hmm.
But her dad was a mechanic. And so she had a car. And we went, I don't know where we were going that day, but we were driving, and Kentucky is very mountainous, especially the area that I grew up in. And so she's driving, I'm in the back seat, the other Linda's in the front seat, and we're going along and everything's great. And then we heard a noise. And all of a sudden the car goes into a tailspin on this little mountain road that's not big at all. So here's our car going around in circles in the middle of this road. Thank God. And I know the angels had our backs. There was nobody, no traffic coming either direction. But it would have been very easy to spin off over a cliff because we're on this little road. There's no rails like there are today on the roads to protect you from going over the side of the mountain. And I just heard to breathe that it was okay. And I couldn't see the angel that was speaking to me at that time, but I just felt this calm come over me. There was a lot of screaming going on, and there was a lot of, oh my gods, as we spun around, and we just kept spinning and kept spinning. And then eventually came to rest by the mountain side, not the cliff side. And we're sitting there looking at each other, and we're going, are you okay? Yeah, you okay? And we came to a perfect stop there on the side of the road, and the car, the drive shaft had broken. And so there was no control from the steering wheel. The car was just kind of on its own, and it was just spinning out of control. And I just saw, I couldn't see her clearly, but I saw this angel beside of me in the back seat. Like she was the one that was keeping it away from going over the cliff and making sure that it went on this other side of the road. I have chills even telling the story, that it was coming to a stop safely, because as bad as we were spinning, it would have been very easy for us to slam into the side of that mountain also. And it was a little car, so it would have crushed all of us that were in it. But we walked away from that. And I had this such peace about me, and I knew that we were okay. I knew that we weren't going to die that day, and that we weren't going over the side of the cliff. And, I got out of the car and I'm just looking around to see if that angel is still there. I'm like, okay, somebody was helping. There was more at play here than just three teenage girls, and having this experience. And of course, this was before the time of cell phones too. Yes. So there was no way to just, get on the phone with Dad and say, hey, come help us out here. So we had to wait for somebody to come down that road and then flag them down and get the help to get back into town and to get her dad to tow the car. But yeah, it's wow. like even if we don't know to call out for help, this is what the angels have told me. Even if we don't consciously think, I need to call for help right now, our subconscious is already putting that out, and the angels are already aware that we do need the help that they can give.
Right.
So, yeah, what a great experience of trust that I could stay calm. I just knew we were okay. I knew we were okay. Spinning around like that, your normal thought is, I'm going to die. But I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that we were going to go over that cliff. I just knew we were going to end up okay, whatever was going on. And I didn't know what was wrong with the car. I didn't know that the steering wheel wouldn't make it straighten up,
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, steering wheels, that's another thing I'm remembering now, is I'm on a highway and I'm in front of everybody and people were kind of behind me, and there was nobody on the left and nobody on the right. And this is before you had the controls on your wheel to change the station or whatever you're listening to. Yeah. So I leaned over to change a station on the radio and I lost control of the car. And I'm starting to veer over this way. And all of a sudden, something took the wheel. It didn't straighten the car out. It went like this. Like telling me, another one paying attention, Kathy.
Wake up. Yeah.
And then it straightened the car out. I said, you know about that song, Jesus Take the Wheel?
Jesus Take the Wheel. That's what I thought about when you said that.
That's exactly what happened. But Jesus scared the living heck out of me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But the car would never have done that itself.
No.
Something actually took the wheel and went like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
The people behind me, I don't know what the heck they thought.
What's wrong with this lady?
This lady's drunk.
Well, now the cars can pull you back into.
Yes. Yeah.
I rented a car for a few days so I could get up to Orlando for the celebration that I came here for. And I didn't know that about this car that I had rented. And I remember I was driving. I guess I was kind of getting too close to the white line. And all of a sudden I felt the car come back over and I'm going, what the heck? Is it wind? My first thought was, is it windy? Is the wind blowing me back? And sure enough, it was the protection system of the car that pulls you back if you're getting too close to that white line. Yeah. But so you had the angel that knew to do that before the cars know to do it.
Oh, yes.
I wonder if that was the inspiration.
I could be. And I'm sure whoever that was said, I'm going to fix you. You're never going to do that again.
I know. It's those distractions, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Distractions of whatever that pulls our attention away from what we're supposed to be focused on.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
know, especially that something that could be so dangerous while you're driving, but also distracts us during our everyday going through life. You know, we need to be focused on what we're doing. And sometimes there's that squirrel or that shiny object. And so we just pay attention to that instead of, what's right before us. Yeah.
That's it.
Lessons of life. Yeah. I love these stories, and I just am so looking forward to so many more and bringing this inspiration to people. I know Julie's been with us the whole time, and she's just been blown away by story after story. Thank you, Julie, for joining us. And Grace Isis, I believe, is hanging out with us today.
Okay, good. Hi, Judy.
I would love to hear some of Gracie's miracle stories.
Oh, I'm sure she's got plenty.
I bet she does. Any of you that want to share your story, just let me know. Just say, yeah, I'll come on and share what happened with me. And it could be one story, it could be 10 stories. And I think Kathleen has many more that you can share with us. So if you want to.
I have drowning stories.
Oh, I do too.
You do too?
Let's share our drowning story, Kathleen. And Julie has some great stories. Julie, I really want to hear your stories.
Good.
And that's the other thing. If you all are uncomfortable coming on to the show and being on this part of the camera, you can write your story out and I'll share it out for you. But I'd rather have you here telling your story and having us all feel that energy.
Right.
She says, but you guys top the cake. We got time. Let's hear our drowning stories.
Well, I always loved the water. I'm a Cancerian, so of course I love the water.
Of course.
And my family and my older cousin, who was 20 at the time and I was 8, went to this place up in the Catskills, and my cousin and I stayed in the same room, and I just saw they had a pool. I had to go to the pool right away. So my mother said, just wait, let us get unpacked and stuff. Well, my cousin went into the bathroom, and when she was in the bathroom, I put on my bathing suit and I hightailed out of there. And I went down to the pool. Now, I did not know how to swim. And I go to the deep end of the pool and I look down and I say, oh, I can see the bottom. So I can go in there. And I jump in, and all of a sudden I'm at the bottom of the pool, just standing there. What do I do now? And now I can't breathe. Right. And I'm really getting scared. And all of a sudden I feel somebody take my arm and pull me up out of the water. And a woman told my parents that she saw me walking down there. And she said, you got to watch this kid. And she said she saw me go in and she thought, well, she can swim. And then all of a sudden she didn't see me anymore. And she saved me, that woman. Otherwise, if that woman wasn't there, she to me was another angel. Mm-hmm. And then I was also in Aruba with a boyfriend, and I had never scuba dived, and I was by myself. He had already gone out to this pole all the way out. And he said, oh, a few feet from here, you're going to see some beautiful coral. Well, I'm swimming, and I'm not a very, very strong swimmer. And now I'm all the way out by the pole. And I said, I'm really out here far. And there was a riptide, and I couldn't get back in.
Yeah.
And somehow something took me all the way over, and I was being smashed against these very slippery rocks, and I couldn't get up on the rocks.
Yeah.
And he finally found me, and he was able to pull me up. But I actually felt that there was somebody pulling me there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hadn't had those that snorkel equipment on, I would have died right away. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
just, I really felt there was somebody there that was really watching over me. So that was the third time I went to the Bahamas. It was the Bahamas. And I said, I'm not going back because every time I went, I had a bad experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I've been invited to go on a cruise to the Bahamas, so maybe I should
No, you'll be okay. You'll be fine.
because I am not a strong swimmer at all.
Well, now I know enough how to swim in a pool, so I kind of stay in the pool.
Right. Yeah, that I can do. If I can touch something, if I can touch the side of the pool, I'm good. But boy, if I'm just out, no, I flounder. It's like,
My boyfriend didn't let me let that go for the whole weekend.
Oh, sure.
He gave me this huge hug, and then after that, no more hugs. I was just he was angry.
But he was glad you were alive. Yeah. Well, my drowning story, when I was, again, a teenager, I was with a group, and we were going in the summertime to Virginia Beach, Virginia. I'd never been there before. I didn't know what the ocean was or what it was like. I had no clue, having never seen it. Well, we were told that we all had to take swimming lessons to be able to go on this group trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the swimming lessons, but I didn't get it. I didn't know how to swim. It just didn't take. And so we get to Virginia Beach, and I fell in love with the beach and the sound of the ocean and watching the waves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was perfectly content to lay there on my towel and just enjoy being in that environment. Well, all of a sudden, the leaders that had taken us there were like, okay, everybody has to experience the ocean. Everybody has to get in the ocean. And I'm like, I said, no, I can't. And they're like, oh, yeah, everybody gets in. And because I didn't get up and go and get in the ocean, they picked me up. I was like a toothpick. I weighed like 1 pound. They picked me up and took me out and threw me into the ocean. And here I am, can't swim, don't have a clue what to do, how to keep myself up in the water. So I went under 3 times. And I don't know who pulled me out, but somebody that was observing realized, hey, she's not coming back up. Kind of like you at the bottom of the pool. Yeah. I was down there, and I don't remember much other than panicking, which is the worst thing you can do.
That's what I was doing. Yep.
Situation. But I saw a light. I do remember that. I remember seeing the light. And then the next thing I know, there I am out of the water and angry. Oh my gosh.
Imagine.
I was so mad. And they're going, but you're supposed to know how to swim. I'm like, supposed to? Yeah, but did you ask me if I knew how to swim? I'm trying to tell you I can't go in there. So because of that experience, it was really hard for me to even go into water again, to learn how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
I did as an adult. I knew that I needed to know because I lived in Florida, and we had swimming pools all over the place. So I did eventually learn how to swim, but I am not a strong swimmer. And, I could maybe save myself if I was a little ways out in the ocean, but I don't go in the ocean. I don't go in my head. And yeah, but that was to me a miracle that I was pulled back out, that I wasn't just caught in the riptide, because that's a real thing in the ocean. It happens here all the time. People get caught in that riptide, and it takes them far out. Yeah. And if I'd been far out, I would have drowned. There would have been no way that I would have gotten back to the shore. So
definitely,
once again, pulled out of the danger zone. And it's happened over and over and over again in my life that I've been extracted out of that dangerous situation or that danger spot. So, yeah, it's all miracles. It's all miraculous because it would have ended up so different, if the angels hadn't intervened and hadn't put that person there, the earth angel that was going to be the one to rescue you with the taxi or pull you out of the water where you were. Just amazing. I'm loving all of this. And we have a whole month of this. I'm so looking
We
forward
do. Mm-hmm.
to all the angel stories. And Kathleen, if you want to be with me for all of them, I would love to have you beside me, or at least the ones that you can attend.
Sure.
Like,
Sure. Anytime.
yeah, yeah. You'll be the Jeff to my mutt. Working our way through miracles this month.
Right?
Oh, and Catherine DeSante says, wonderful miracle angel stories. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank
Catherine,
you.
I bet you have a story or two. I would love to hear if you want to share some of them. We'd love to hear your stories. And Julie Kiss, I know you got some. Julie said this was a wonderful podcast. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for being here. And to all of you, thank you for listening to our stories. And if you want to share yours, that's my website that's streaming on the screen, angelspeakers.com. There's a contact form on there that you can just say, hey, I saw you and I want to be on that podcast to share my miracle stories. Or you can send me a message on Facebook or get in touch with me. I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can always find me. Kathleen, how can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
If you want to reach out to me, sure. You can reach me at Kathy, Kathy, at hadobear.com, HADOBEAR. And you can always give me a call.
And put that up on here.
Do that too.
Kathy at hadobear.com.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Gracie, I got to tell you, please check your email. I sent you a question that I need answered when you have a chance. Thanks.
Awesome. So reach out to us, and you can tell either one of us that you want to share your angel story.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited because I'll have Mama Hado Bear with me. It's always good to have a co-host. I love that. So
yeah, it's always fun.
Thank you, Julie Kiss. Thank you, Grace Isis and Catherine. You all were wonderful being there and interacting with us today. Love you all so much. Stay in your hearts. Stay blessed. And we'll be back next Tuesday with more angel stories and miracle stories. And come on and share it out when you come in, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Bring a friend, bring somebody that could benefit from hearing some inspiration. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Okay. I love you. I love you.
Love you. Love everybody here and everybody watching.
Bye, everyone. And bye, Hado Bear. Thank you for being here too.
You're welcome. He's happy.